morning my friends, and welcome back to EVE Online with me, Mark from Dadex, and today's video is all about this Punisher here, a very cheap Punisher, and taking it into Tier 0 Abyss. That is the Tranquil Abyss site. Just to get you going with a little look at the Abyss, I did chat to a couple of people in the NPC Corp chat the other night, and they were convinced, or had been convinced, that such a cheap ship could not possibly do the Abyss. Nonsense, I said, and I'm going to prove it. So here we are. Right, here is the fit. It comes in at about 1.8 million. It is the cheapest fit I could really put together. Up in the top slots to do the shooting, we've got 4 small focused Afocal masers. They're the Meta 1 beam lasers. They were the cheapest ones. The prices on the Meta 2, Meta 3 beam lasers are very high. I think even just to fit the Meta 2 versions, 4 of those would have put about 2 million to 3 million on the price of the ship. Anyway, these are the ones we're going with, and they'll do us fine, I'm quite sure. We have multi-frequency ammo, which is the highest damage ammo we're going to use. We've got a fall-off range of 11 kilometers and an optimal range of about 7.6 kilometers, and we're putting out 97.5 DPS. In the mid slots, we've got an enduring afterburner to speed us up to 900 meters a second, or just over. We've got a small compact lead acid cap battery that increases the amount of capacitor we have and also gives us a bit of resistance to neuting, which can be handy in the Abyss. I'm not so sure on Tier 0 sites. I don't think we get EWAR'd too much. In the bottom slots, we've got an enduring armor repairer. That's going to repair 91 hit points every 4.8 seconds. We've got a damage control 1 to increase our resistances. We've got an upgraded Multispectrum coating to further boost all of our resistances. And we've got 2 compact heat sinks. Not quite the most basic version, but not very expensive. In the rig slot, I've got this rig here. This is the Small Energy Locus Coordinator. That extends our optimal range. Give us a little bit more range with our guns, which is just handy. You could put up straight damage rig in there. That would be fine. I just thought I'd try something different. I had a couple in the hangar that I'd never used. So you could put a damage booster in there. I'd stay away from rate of fire boosting rigs right now, because capacitor may be an issue, particularly if you're low skill. Here we've got 1 auxiliary nano pump. That's going to increase the amount of repairing we get from the repairer. And we have 1 small capacitor control circuit. Now that increases the recharge rate of our capacitor, not its amount. And if you have lower skills than me, then perhaps you'll fit 2 of these and wouldn't bother with any kind of rig full of guns. Because as you'll see from the run, I'm sure we've got more than enough DPS. We're not going to be cutting it fine at all. In the hold, we've got a small selection of ammo. We've got multi-frequency, we've got radio, and we've got standard. The radio, maybe for popping boxes, is quite handy. What I've actually found is the rats close range on us so quickly that multi-frequency is the ammo that we use. Standard there is a little bit redundant. By the time you loaded it up and maybe fired 1 shot, you'd need to reload to multi-frequency anyway. And lastly, we've got a trio of Tranquil Firestorm filaments here. You need 3 filaments to do a frigate run. The Firestorm version is going to reduce our thermal resistances. We've got quite good resistances to start with. And it's going to give us a 50% bonus to our armor. So that's really working in our favour. So these are quite safe ones to do, as are electrical, because you just get so much capacitor. You can just rep through the whole room without a care in the world. Although this fit is actually cap stable, so you can just keep the repper and the afterburner running all the time, shoot when you need to. If you don't show as cap stable because you've got lower skills, try putting in that extra capacitor control circuit in the rig slots. But as long as it says you've got about 7 to 8 minutes of capacitor, that is enough for you to have everything running at the same time. But as you will see, you don't need to anyway. The resistances are very good across the board here on the armor. It is the Punisher's kind of speciality, but a nice balanced range. So we wouldn't be at too much of a disadvantage in some of the other Abyss types other than Firestorm and Electrical. We may give that a go. But before we move on, here my friends is this month's exclusive creator skin, the magnificent Obelisk scope syndication skin. It's a freighter skin. If you don't have a freighter, remember, if you fly to Jitter, redeem your skin code there, sell it on the market. It'll be worth good money, I am sure. On screen now are the winners of the last skins, the Vargur skins. Well done them. Thank you very much for your comments and your input, and we'd like comments for you to enter this giveaway. Leave them down below with your in-game name. Just talk about the Abyss. Have you tried it? Are you now interested in it? Did you think it would be a bit more complicated than you're going to find out that it is when you've seen this whole run? Has it made you rich? Is it how you got started in Eve? Let me know down below, and the winners will be selected at random. The skins will go out quite soon because the next video is going to be up quite soon because I've got a lot more free time. I'm now less distracted, feeling much better than I have for the last couple of months. Ended up in hospital a couple of weeks ago, but that's a story for another day, and it's all good now. So onwards and upwards. Comments down below. Remember your in-game name. We'll just have a quick look at my skills, just so you know where I am. Engineering, I've got capacitor management up to 4, which is the maximum level for an alpha, increasing our capacitor amount. Very important with an Amarr ship because the lasers are run by your capacitor more so than any other weapon system. Gunnery, controlled bursts, again to level 4, very important for an Amarr. I particularly found this to be the case using the coercer with all of those lasers to take down the clone soldiers on the low sec belts to get their 17 million ISK tags off of them. You're definitely going to need to manage your capacitor. That is the reason why rapid firing, which increases the rate of firing, is one that I'm only training now, even up to level 3. I boosted the damage from the guns. I reduced the capacity use of the guns before I put the fire rate up. I only have small energy turret level 4, and the rest of the skills are pretty much all level 3. Armour, nothing special. Level 4 hull upgrades, level 4 mechanics, level 4 repair systems. And the other skills that I have trained up, although I forgot to show them, are the rigging skills to mitigate the downside of rigs. It makes fitting the turrets with a rig easier by reducing the penalty on the power grid need. Anyway, let's get busy. We've got a bookmark saved out here. We're going to warp to that because you need to be a nice distance away from everything else in the system to pop a filament. If you don't know how to make a bookmark, you just head off somewhere. You press Control B to open up the bookmark screen, and somewhere on your journey press enter and the bookmark is dropped where you are in space when you press enter. I'm also forming a fleet with myself right there because you need to run the Abyss unless it's just yourself in a cruiser using one filament. Going to click on activate the filament. I need to change the drop down to frigates because I was doing this in a destroyer last night. So it's 1 filament for a cruiser, 2 for destroyers, 3 for a frigate. But you do get more loot the more filaments you've popped. Now if you can't see this gate on your overview, right click on here, and where it says remove from overview there, it will be add to overview if it isn't already. So we're going to use this abyssal trace just like you would an acceleration gate on any other site. Once we've clicked that button, that's it, we're in. No turning back. We've got to get through in 20 minutes and there's no escape. You can't warp out of the Abyss. Okay, so here we are. The environments inside these Abyss sites look brilliant, especially if you're lucky enough to be able to run the graphics at a high setting. We've got 1 loot box and 1 rat. I'm going to start approaching the loot box. The rat will come into us and will be within range of the optimal of our multi-frequency lasers, so we'll just sit and wait. We're in no danger at all, I promise you. This is a Skybreaker. It's quite a weird rat. It has a kind of area of effect weapon. It can really damage you if you're flying drones. Be careful if you're using drones, because if it hits one, it's probably going to hit all of them. But in fact, it's the rat that's blown up the loot box there, not me. So there you go, there's a little demonstration. So we've grabbed the loot and we just kill the rat now. So we're going to set ourselves into an orbit, get the guns firing. We can leave the Reaper running. We can leave the Afterburner running the whole time through the site. It won't switch off when we change from room to room. And once we've killed this rat, the last rat, if there is more than one in the spawn, then the gate to the next room will open. But you can't progress without killing all the rats. I'm going to change the speed up to 1.5 times speed now, just to get through this, because it really is just a matter of time. This guy is a little bit tanky. He's quite fast. As you can see up there, we've got the speed. He's got a good traversal on us, but we're in no danger of dying, which is very, very good. That's the first thing, and we are wearing him down. He's got reps going on his shields. We will look at the timer before we leave the site and just see how much time it's taken overall in real time. One of the things I love about the Abyss, whichever level you are capable of running it, is it's something you can jump onto Eve and just do, provided you've got the filaments that you need. You don't have to find it, you don't have to compete for it, you don't have to go there. You just undock from whichever station you're in. Out in high sec I usually do this just because it's safer. Pop the filaments that you need to. You know they're going to take 10 minutes or whatever, so you only need a little chunk of time to be able to get a little bit of an Eve fix. And as you will see, the money isn't bad, especially bear in mind we're in like a 1.8 million ISK ship right here. So we're going to go through the gate into the next room. The graphics, as I say, are great. The sounds are great. I have turned them down, otherwise they deafen you a little. Second room, and here we go. We've got one Damovic and we've got one loot box, so we're going to head for the loot box. What I didn't mention in the last room, but it is quite important, never stop moving in the Abyss. So when we get close to the loot box, we're going to orbit it at 1,000 meters. We're going to keep our fire on the rat and just get the loot box after. But when you stop moving, especially on even tier 1s, when you've got a very big rat shooting at you, they're going to miss you because you're fast and you're small. If you're suddenly stationary, they're going to hit you potentially very, very hard. So get in the habit, in the Abyss, of never stop moving. And as you can see here, we are taking a bit of damage off the Damovic, but we're grinding him down nicely, so it's never any kind of stress. We just leave the Repper running and wear him down. He's into hull. He's going to die. They are tanky. On high levels where you get 2 or 3 of them, they do rep each other quite powerfully. They can be quite a handful if there's a little swarm, but you never get that on tier 0. Some more loot. We've got a blueprint there to make some ammo. Now some of the materials that you get in the Abyss you can use to make the ammo, and it can be very lucrative. Some of the other loot you just sell straight to NPCs for a fixed price. But we'll have a look at the loot in detail at the end. Right. So in here we've got 2 spark needle to sellers. They're a kind of drone. They're very odd looking things. But even though there's 2 of them, they're not particularly challenging at all. Again, they're just going to come in and orbit us. So head for the loot box, get into an orbit around the loot box, and just use your multi-frequency to kill them as they come into range. Easy peasy. I have actually run an Abyss site, the one before this one, where each room simply had 2 of these in it. It was a bit dull. That's actually what I came and ran another site. I thought showing you a site where I got the same spawn 3 times in a row was a bit boring. As you can see, I've actually stopped here because I forgot to put myself into orbit. I didn't take any particular damage there because I say these particular rats are pretty puny, so I was never in any kind of danger. However, if I've done that in a room with a cruiser or a battleship in it, I would have got a serious dose of damage for sure. Not that we're ever going to find those in a tier 0 Abyss, but you never know where these frigates might end up going and trying their luck, eh? And that, my friends, is it. It's as simple as that. Some of the rats that spawn do take a little bit longer just to grind down, but you're never in danger in a tier 0 Abyss. Keep moving, you can keep your Repper running, and we're not even halfway on the timer, and I've been pausing for screenshots and stuff. So on average, I think these take about 8 minutes each, 7 to 8 minutes. As you upgrade your ship and your skills, and you can put out more DPS, maybe by getting some navy ammo or by changing the rig for a straight damage rig, if you think you don't need that boost to the optimal. And now, having seen how close the rats come in on many of these runs, probably don't need that boost to the optimal. I may take that rig off and change it for a damage rig. I'll leave it there for now. It was worth having a look though. There's so many modules and rigs out there that you never really think to try, and they do all make a slight difference, but they might not always be appropriate. Anyway, we are back in the hangar. Let's have a proper look at our haul now. I think we did pretty well. In fact, this is quite exceptional for a tier 0. I think we got about 2.5 million if we take off the money for the stupid amount of ammo that I'm carrying around with me. But we've got some filaments to do some more runs with, or put towards doing some more runs. We got a blueprint, which is great because we can try to start making some ammo. We'll look at that maybe in a different video. The Juglavian survey databases, they get sold straight to an NPC vendor that will buy them for 100,000 ISK each. And the condensate we've got there is one of the materials you can use to make the ammo. I've run 6 sites in a frigate now, and I think the average I'm going to say is about 1.8 to 1.9 million, somewhere around there per run, which is basically the value of the ship for each and every run, and in about 8 minutes too. Much better risk than you're going to make in a venture, unless you're harvesting gas somewhere, and we'll look at that another day because that can be incredibly good ISK for an alpha clone. And although the sites may be a little bit repetitive, it's a lot less repetitive than going round and round a rock. So get out there and give it a go. Right guys, we're going to leave it there for now. Hope you've enjoyed the video, found it informative. If you have, leave it a like please, it does help with the old algorithm. Subscribe if you want to stay in touch, and click that notification bell to know when the next video comes out, which will be very soon. I'm going to keep doing this Abyss. We're going to do some destroyer runs. You're also going to see what happens when I make a little mistake and have to fight my way out of it. We'll save that for a special little episode. Leave your comments down below. Remember to include your in-game name if you want to be included in the big fat Obelisk skin giveaway. Have you tried the Abyss? Are you going to give it a go? Did you know you could do it in such a puny little ship? Is it how you got rich? It's a great way to make yourself a bit of money before you go into low sec, so you've got some spare ships ready for when things may go wrong. They will go wrong sooner or later. But I hope this has given you a bit of an idea of what is going on. But for now, my friends, take care of yourselves and each other. Remember, even is believing, fly brave, and goodbye.